Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Insert Wisdom podcast. This is episode number 15. I think today is going to be all about purpose and what can happen if you back off the need to know what purpose is or just truly aligning with yourself. Like many things in my life, after all, my Substack is called the Folklore Library, so I love ascribing bits of folklore or mythos to my own life. And oftentimes, my life seems to unfold in images. And these images will not come because I'm looking for them. They'll just sort of arise, I guess, out of my own subconscious or aesthetic or vibes, like whatever you want to ascribe to that. I don't know where they come from, but today the image of a castle on a hill came up 3 different times. And it started on Instagram. I accidentally scrolled over to the Reels section and I saw this reel that featured Neuschwanstein Castle, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the wintertime. And it's just this gorgeous, idyllic scene of a castle in the mountains. There's a horse-drawn carriage bringing people up to it. It's snowing. Absolutely stunning. It will be up on my Instagram story for 24 hours if you want to go check it out, which then led me to search that castle. And I posted a thread sort of as a joke, but a picture, I believe, of that same castle. And I was saying, I live here, by the way. Everyone is welcome for the holidays, but you got to bring wine, though. Which, is accurate. I do live in a castle, and if you want to come, you can come, but you have to bring some wine with you. And before I get to the third image that came up today, I think it's important to set the scene for how I woke up this morning. I woke up feeling a bit frustrated and dejected and just doing what I always do, which seems to be about endlessly questioning what my purpose is, where I'm supposed to go next, trying to refine what I know, how I can distill things into content, because that seems to be the one thing that I come to again and again is writing and then talking about things that I've learned, whether that's in pop culture, things that are currently going on, or just based off of my own life experience. So I felt that mental circle spinning around this morning, and I felt like I needed a lifeline in a way, because I think I have this misunderstanding that if I search hard enough for something, if I just understand something well enough or whatever, then I will find it. But it's like the more I try to grasp onto whatever purpose is or anything, honestly, that the more it seems to slip away. The only window into any of that I feel like I've gotten any kind of clarity is trying to understand fear. Like, what is it that I'm actually afraid of? Where do these questions actually come from? And then once I understand the thing that I'm afraid of, the fear tends to dissipate. Like I was afraid of using a credit card once upon a time, right? Like I didn't know how it worked. If you live in America, you know that you really don't get taught about finances here at all. I don't know if you're listening to this in other countries. Maybe you can chime in and let us know if you are taught basic financial planning in school, but here in America, you definitely are not. So I definitely had a lot of fear around that, around, fucking it up and getting debt or whatever. And then once I understood how they worked, then the fear and all the endless questioning seemed to go away. So that might be a useful episode for another time, like exploring the fear behind why do I feel like I need to know my purpose so badly. But like all things in my life, what seems to happen is, like I was saying, these images will kind of come up and then I'll make sense of them later. It's like the universe, whatever you want to call it, my subconscious is speaking to me in ways that are not in words, but in these flashes that I get. And I do get these flashes of sentences as well, which this one sentence popped into my head yesterday that comes into play here as well. And that sentence was that people don't seem to realize that being in sync with themselves is more powerful than any plan. So anyway, about the third castle, I was scrolling on Twitter, and this person had posted a little illustration they had done. And this is what they wrote. This is by a user Delorazepam _ That's spelled DELORAZEPAM _ Just want to give them their flowers for posting this little sweet illustration. And they said, it's crazy because the rise of AI shit made me prouder of the things I do. Like, this is an ugly ass illustration, but I made it myself. Now, that's how he characterized this illustration. And by the way, if you want to see the photo, I wrote an article about it on my Substack. You can check it out there. But what I saw was not an ugly ass illustration. I saw something that let me take a breath and feel peaceful. And it reminded me of something that I still can't quite put into words, but the image, if you're listening to this, is basically of some rolling hills and some crudely drawn pine trees and a little castle on the hill with a winding path that leads up to it. The castle looks quite small, it doesn't look super opulent, it's unassuming, but it's very sweet. This image is quite childlike. And for whatever reason, it kind of made me emotional. It made me feel like I didn't even have to ask the question in the first place about purpose. It's like my purpose today was shown to me through images. It was shown to me through things that I had to respond to. If you've listened to other episodes, you know that I love human design. And if you are familiar with it, then you know there are different energetic types. If you're a generator or a manifesting generator, then you energetically feel drawn to certain things or you respond to life in real time. Those are important clues about what it is you're supposed to do next or what lights you up. And the two other images of castles that I told you about today are quite opulent, right? They're grand and detailed and majestic and big, and those are important too. That image of status or arriving at something that's big and magical and dreamy, which is something that very much speaks to me in my soul, in my very being. It's like, I would love to live there. Who wouldn't want to live in a castle on a hill and like be surrounded by that kind of beauty? But looking at this little image, it just made me feel so happy because it was almost like it was saying, don't forget the childlike wonder there. Don't forget the simple things that this is enough. You don't have to go out and build the grand castle. You certainly can, but having these little anchor points, for me especially, who tends to live in her head quite a lot and needs to get more into my body and live from there, it was just such a lovely reminder. Because as a child, I was somebody who was so full of life and light, and I was playful. I had a lot of friends. I would tell everybody I loved them all the time. I was creative. I was involved in every aspect of the arts that you could even imagine. I was outgoing. And then somewhere along the way, that light got told it had to dim, it had to restrict, it had to not be herself. She had to learn to survive. And I think that's why this illustration hit me so much, because it reminded me of that little girl who just got to play and have fun and create things because she enjoyed creating them. So it was a really nice reminder of that little girl. And I can, hear people saying like, Kate, it's not that deep. Like, why are you making it into something that's deeper? No, it actually is deeper. And I dare you to look at it more deeply and to stop acting like nothing's cool, or that you don't care, or that things like connection and joy and being a little cheesy and sappy aren't important. This is why we create art in the first place. Like, this person posted this thinking like, oh, this is ugly. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here at my desk, inspired as hell about it. I wrote a Substack article, and now I'm recording a podcast episode. Like, you never know what you create, like how it will affect others, the light that it will bring to other people, how it will inspire them. And it doesn't even have to be anything deep at all. It could just be like you post something and then people are inspired to get in nature more. Or like, I don't know, just be more honest about who they are. And that's why that sentence that I said earlier comes into play here. It's like when you are aligned with yourself, that's far greater than any plan you could ever have. And every time that I am trying to live from a plan or grasping or trying to figure out like, this is the path, I have to know what my path is. If I just ask enough questions, then I'll figure it out and I'll get there. It's like, no, that's all bullshit, actually. That's complicating it. That's not who I am. Who I am is playful and enjoys being surrounded by beauty and wants to respond to life, not have to make life bend to me. And I look around and I feel like so many people are so obsessed with things that don't matter. Whether that's accumulating more wealth or looking a certain way, presenting a certain lifestyle, acting like things like connection and community and art don't matter, that it's better to essentially say, fuck you to everyone else. I'm going to get my own thing. You're on your own. And I do understand to some point that that is kind of the world that we live in right now. It's kind of where things are going. But we can still evolve with the times, how things are changing, and still be in tune with who we are. Because I don't think that's who we are, to shut everything that is life-giving out of us. You know, it is incredibly human to create on all levels, not just, what was the German castle name that I said? It was, let me find it again real quick. Jernstein something. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Neuschwanstein Castle. But don't forget about the little quote unquote ugly castle on the hill that isn't ugly at all, because it's the purest and sweetest form of things that we seem to forget so much. How great and restorative play can be, and just laughing with a friend, or, and I understand we have to pay bills. I've got bills I have to figure out how to pay. I don't know how I'm going to fucking pay them. I have no idea. I have things that I'm drawn to. I enjoy yapping on this podcast, and I have threads that go viral all the time. I used to go viral on TikTok quite a lot. But there is something for me about communicating how I've alchemized fear into creation or direction for myself, helping other people orient to who it is that they actually are. It's not me like telling people what path they need to take. And then writing and communicating my own sort of code of ethics, or what I've gathered or learned or combined throughout the years. So I guess if there was something I'm trying to impart other than what I've already said in this episode, is that, this interruption is brought to you by the local fire department. I don't know if you can hear them. I think they're gone now. Is just that it's okay to not be busy. It's okay to take a second and to connect with something that makes you feel more like yourself, more human, less like a capitalistic money machine, less robotic. And I hope that we have more of that in this world that we're continuously interacting with and evolving with as we go. And I genuinely believe that the most powerful way that we can make a change for the better is by being who we really are, whatever that looks like. And for me, I think that's partly just following these images that come up and combining things, creating from them, spitting them out, seeing what sticks, creating like a recipe, I guess, or a meal rather, and then serving it up and then seeing how it lands with others. And then maybe one day I'll be paid for that. Who knows? But I think that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, if you want to see the image that I'm talking about, or any of the castles that I've mentioned, check out my Instagram story or my threads. You can connect with me on Threads, Instagram. I have an email that if you would like to reach out to comment on anything I've said or have podcast episode requests, that is insertwisdom@gmail.com. I also have a couple books out. One of them is called Under the Same Sky. It's a small town friends to lovers romance. It's my debut novel, so it's very special. You can find that in my link tree. It's all over my social media, so if you want to find it, you will. Same with the second book I wrote, which is called The Art of After, How to Transform Grief into Art. That's available on Gumroad, and that project is very personal to me. It's already made such a huge difference in a lot of people's lives, and I hope you'll check it out. And yeah, I think that is all that I have for you today. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.